Hey y'all, it's your favorite Smiling Snack, and I am back with another crack at the LEGO Horizon Adventures Hardcore Challenge. Real quick, I do want to say that you should like and subscribe, and if you haven't seen the first episode, I would highly recommend doing that. I will wait right here for you. Now that you're all caught up, here is a quick overview of the challenge rules, and let's go on attempt 2. We start off once again by completing the tutorial level, continuing my addiction to a virtual currency, and once again mutilating a grazer dummy named after my pup. We cruise through the only encounter before heading into 1-1. This level only has 3 fights. The first is the same as the tutorial with only 1 broadhead. The second brawl has 3 broadheads, which we sidestep and stun for an easy victory. The final battle is against hooded cultists and a few broadheads. We get off to a rough start, but are able to recover and rescue our illustrious tailor Teb. I actually did learn something new in this encounter. If you damage elemental canisters with elemental damage, then it's basically a one-hit KO. We throw in some new drip and jump into 1-2. This level may as well be known as Barrels and Blasters, as we decimate everything in our path using explosives and flamethrower boots before finishing an easier tallneck ending. I'm gonna breeze over upgrades in this run, but just know that between every level I will be gathering more make-believe metallic dopamine and spending it to get more XP and damage. We meet our first aggressive elk in 1-3, but besides running into my least favorite arena again, all goes off without a hitch until we pick up my first hot dog cart of the run, and immediately swap it out for the superior flame footwear. We cruise through the final fight and start getting paid for our services to the village. 1-4 starts with a conversation with Ross that is for sure not the last one with him. We meet our favorite raptor machines, have a close call and recovery, before staring down my PB and caged Varl. After losing here in the last run, I was prepared for a messy fight. We immediately get off to a poor start by missing the pillar kill, but that is the only hitch on a damageless fight that I am quite proud of. We rescue Mr. Clumsy and now have a second playable character, which means Ross must go. He dies in a cutscene that I skipped, and we learn why the narrator has shared his voice this whole time. We unlock the community board, which is a good way to earn extra gold bricks by completing side tasks. I will be doing these ASAP to hopefully earn more taxes for upgrades. We head into the unknown with level 1-5 and are immediately introduced to cauldrons. I think these will be the most difficult levels for this challenge, as they are filled to the brim with machines and typically have a boss fight at the end. This is also the main reason I'm not counting falling off the map as a death, due to the amount of parkour and weird perspective. We are abruptly introduced to electricity and are given some minor injuries against the first shiny beasts. We gain another level thanks to the jet boots and utilize the extra weak point damage to clean up the next wave of baddies. We jump up some floating platforms, which would be super cool in real life by the way, and snipe some watchers to finish out the level deathless. Varl reminds us about the main villain of the game from that cutscene that I skipped, and then we meet the first new machine in a while, the Scrapper. These brutes shoot projectiles on the ground and were the first real challenge I faced on my original playthrough. However, they really aren't too bad, as you can just jump over their projectiles and shoot one of their 3 weak points. We finally get to use the hot dog cart in the next bout and see how it can be useful but is super inconsistent. Thankfully, the trader gives us some elemental arrows and another of my favorite power-ups in the brick separator. This behemoth does AoE damage after a short animation. They are especially good for boss fights to do a ton of damage while the boss is stunned. We take some damage through a boulder and actually use the focus to find some healing berries. It's a good thing too because we immediately take more damage but are able to heal and finish out the toughest fight yet. Turns out that it was just a warm-up for the first mini-boss of the game who is guarding our main objective, the tribe matriarch Tirsa. Corruptors are actually a pretty fun fight. The most dangerous part is the crazy amount of enemies that they constantly spawn until they are defeated. They also shoot out tons of waves and projectiles that turn the encounter into a bullet hell type battle. My main strategy is to do as much damage as I can at the start before slowly whittling the boss down while killing the small fry along the way. We take some huge damage that thankfully gets healed instantly and start to wail on the big boss. The broadheads it spawns get a single lick in before being taken out, but now we are at the halfway point of the fight. We run through the orange whappers before utilizing the flame arrows the trader gave us to burn away at the health bar. We realized a little too late that the boss was stunned and are forced into another wave of man and machine enemies. We start to focus on the crowd before realizing how low the boss is. Doing some kiting, we are able to isolate the evil corruptor and take him out with a few quick strikes. With that tense experience, we are out of the woods and into the second chapter of the game. We just rescued the third playable character, the one and only tribe matriarch Tirsa. She leads us into the mountain that Aloy was found in as a baby, and we meet Elizabeth, who is much more important in the PlayStation series. We also learn Hades' primitive plans before taking Elizabeth back to Mother's Heart. Once she is installed into the upgrade tree, she tells us of her plan to make a weapon out of metal flowers to destroy the Red Cloud. I like the reference to Zero Dawn, but it is quite a stretch, isn't it? Anyway, we head up into the peaks for the first level of Stage 2. We immediately find our first metal flower, but of course, classic LEGO game antics ensue, and it is eaten by a scary-looking Thunderjaw. Then a random Silence appears, and gives us a plan to triangulate the terrible Tyrannosaurus position. We start off with a brand new machine, the Longleg. These guys have a similar flying attack to Grazers, and another more dangerous stun wave. However, they are not the biggest threat, especially when it's only one of them. The theme of power-ups in this area is Flame and Frost, so I leave the trader with a fiery bow and a brand new Frosty Wave. These come in handy right away against some scrappers and our new ostrich foes. Freezing enemies is a great way to isolate fights and make encounters more manageable, so that will be our strategy when we can pull it off. Our new virtual friend lets us know we are high enough for a tower, but the spot we pick out is full of machines. We are slowed by a new mechanic, Frozen Water, but easily utilize my newfound canister knowledge for some easy kills. The third wave looks scary, but we navigate it flawlessly with the infinite frost waves. We get our first tower up, take a quick pit stop to ignore Karst's decorations, and head into 2-2. We start off by meeting our favorite watchers, but now with a new twist, homing frost projectiles. Even with that, lowly forest creatures are no match for us anymore, and we clean up with some help from Hot Dog Guy. We add to our arsenal with some freeze arrows before staring down another unlimited frost arena. We instead lean once again on the cart for some extra DPS and chance for more gold bricks. We finish off a few long legs for our 10th level up. We are officially halfway through Aloy's upgrades. We grind out a few more gadget kills and clean up the arena. We then bump into Silence, who is a DJ for some reason. Also, this cutscene is super awkward without the in-game music. Our disc-spinning compadre decides to move into the village, ending off the level. 2-3 is probably the most boring level thus far. We only fight cultists the whole way, and besides learning about how abusive Hades is, and setting up another tower, nothing new really happens. I'm just gonna skip over the reasoning behind why the machines are aggressive because it's honestly so much better in the actual Horizon games. We start off 2-4 by meeting my second least favorite machine, the Shellwalker. They are super annoying due to the massive shield that they wave around, which makes it very hard to deal damage to them. The first few are really no problem, and the only damage we take is when I decide to stand inside of a campfire for some reason. The next encounter was much more difficult, with a bunch of cultists and watchers thrown in. We navigate it well, first taking out the smaller threats, and then slowly chipping down the shield crabs. We then meet the weirdest addition to the game yet. Our fourth playable character is Aaron. They definitely just added him for the name brand, as he serves zero purpose in this game and is my least favorite character to play as. I guess he does serve a purpose though, as we now have finished another level. Which brings us to the penultimate level of the mountains, 2-5. This level starts with a very important mechanic, corrupted machines. These are essentially much stronger machines, usually with differing or stronger attacks as well. The first few are a piece of cake thanks to the icy pools dotted around the arena. We enter the final fight and thank the Lord for my increased health. The first wave is fairly simple. Despite taking some damage, we clean it up quickly. The second can't stand up to the might of the brick separator, and the third wave spawns in. These machines take a beating, but a Shellwalker almost takes us out in a single hit. But at the end of the day, one crab cannot stand between me and my quest to max out my bank account. So we finish building our third tower and track the vegetarian Thunderjaw to a cauldron in the mountains. Cauldron machines are the best for the Boom Times quest, so I will be trying to kill as many as possible with barrels, which is not easy. I think besides maxing out character levels, this was one of my least favorite tasks in the original playthrough. Anyway, we cruise through the first few rooms, failing some platforming and missing tons of barrels along the way. After a lot more platforming, we finally reach the boss room. The first phase is in the foreground, and the main goal is to throw barrels to power zap turrets to tickle the dino's health bar. It also occasionally spawns cultists from the void, but these are easily killed with barrels. We bring the boss to half health and are launched into the arena with it. This phase is actually pretty easy. All you have to do is dodge the very telegraphed attacks and shoot its legs until it falls and you're able to do some actual damage to its face. The only annoying part is the cultists and machines that occasionally spawn in, but even those aren't enough to stand between us and our first metal flower. And with that comes the end of the mountains, and the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and like and subscribe while you're down there. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!